What is up, guys? EJ here, aka PuckBond007, and welcome to the Movie Reviewers 100, this great collaboration channel on YouTube that I'm proud to be a part of. So sadly, this week is James Gandolfini week. Very tragic that he passed away a couple weeks ago of a heart attack at the young age of 51. So yeah, we were going to do a Gandolfini week in the upcoming weeks, but obviously we moved it up to now in honor of his memory. I'm not going to talk about one particular film. I was thinking about doing one of his movies, but I saw one of the other guys wants to handle that, so I'm going to let him do that. So I'm just going to talk about James Gandolfini through a variety of things that he's done that I like and that I've seen. Yeah, just talk about his career in general. So like most people, I think I first became familiar with James Gandolfini in the 1993 Tony Scott classic True Romance. Yeah, the script written by Quentin Tarantino, fantastic cast, fantastic film. I watched this again this past year during my 24-hour movie marathon. It was actually the film I ended my marathon with, because I love it so much, and it's such a great film. Every character basically has a sort of defining moment of this film, and James Gandolfini is no different. He plays a small role as a hitman who works for Christopher Walken's character, who we don't see that much, only in one great scene, really. But of course, James Gandolfini catches up with what's his name, Clarence in Alabama, in LA, and finds Alabama in her hotel room. He's there looking for the coke, and they have one of the most brutal sort of fights to the death. It's one of the most gut-wrenching scenes I've ever seen at the time. I mean, Patricia Arquette gets the hell beaten out of her by James Gandolfini, but she gets the upper hand when he dares her to stab her in the heart with, I believe it's like a corkscrew on her keychain, something like that. It's a bloody scene, it's a brutal scene, it's a great scene, and sort of the first time I really took notice of James Gandolfini. But prior to that, he also starred in another Tony Scott film a couple years earlier, and that's The Last Boy Scout with Bruce Willis. Also directed by Tony Scott, and one of his early roles. I don't really remember him in this film. I'm pretty sure he played a heavy, working for the bad guy, from what I remember. It's been a while since I've seen it. Bruce Willis and Damon Wayans. Not a great film, but a fun film. I know Scott, the professor, likes this film a lot, so he probably knows more about Gandolfini's role in this. Okay, another film, great film from the 90s, that Alan mentioned in his great video yesterday is Get Shorty from 1995. Awesome film with John Travolta, Rene Russo, Gene Hackman, Danny DeVito, Delroy Lindo. Great film that mixes sort of Hollywood and crime, mafia aspect. And James Gandolfini plays a stuntman who works for Delroy Lindo's character, I believe. I just remember him getting thrown down the stairs by Travolta a couple times. He roughs him up a couple times in this film, and it's a great moment because Gandolfini is a big guy, obviously, and Travolta just sort of handles him like he's nothing in two sort of great moments. And it's interesting because Travolta and Gandolfini have an interesting history. They're good friends. When Travolta's son passed away last year, I believe, Gandolfini was there to sort of comfort John Travolta at that time, and their fathers knew each other growing up. I believe John Travolta's father sold tires to Gandolfini's father when they were growing up in New Jersey. So an interesting history between these two, and a great performance by Travolta in this film. This is one of my favorite Travolta films, and Gandolfini has a great role as well. Another great film starring John Travolta that came out later in the 90s. Not many people talk about it, and that's this film, A Civil Action from 1998. John Travolta plays a lawyer sort of a slick talking lawyer who only takes cases he knows he can settle out of court. But in this film, he takes on sort of environmental issues and a big company that's dumping waste into water, and it's poisoning townspeople, etc. Sort of the Aaron Brockovich story, if you like. But this is a really good film with Robert Duvall as well. I believe William H. Macy's in it. Yeah, great actor. And James Gandolfini is in it as well. If you get a chance to see it, I highly recommend it. So coming up to 1999 now, obviously the show that Alan talked about yesterday, The Sopranos, a film, a TV show, along with Sex and the City at the time, sort of defined HBO and what was possible with cable television. Unfortunately, I did not have cable at the time when The Sopranos was on, so I missed it, and I had never seen it until a couple weeks ago, until Gandolfini's death. So The Sopranos from 1999, I watched season 1 this past week. I just finished it a couple nights ago. I've already started season 2. Prior to this, my only experience with The Sopranos was I saw an episode in college in a film class about television. One of the professor showed us an episode of The Sopranos, and that was it. That's the only time I had ever seen it. So I started watching the first season after he passed away last week, a week and a half ago, and just finished it a couple nights ago. So my impressions of The Sopranos, I understand why it did so well and why it became so popular. It's a great show, sort of redefining family. Obviously, the quote mob family, and Tony James Gandolfini dealing with his immediate family. I understand why Edie Falco seemed to win every year for Best Actress. She's great as his wife, Carmela. I was shocked at Jamie Lynn Sigler, how young she looks early on as Meadow, the daughter, because I only know her from Entourage, basically. She's pretty much a full-grown woman in that show, and here she's just a kid, basically. So I love the kids, her and their younger brother. My God, the mother, she's a piece of work. She's a pisser, man. So great moments between him and his mother. Lorraine Bracco, really good as Dr. Melfi. Those scenes with her and Tony in the office really add a sort of great dimension that you don't see in obviously most mafia films until Analyze This and Analyze That came out, and that's another interesting thing about the show. They talk about mafia films and stuff on the show. Analyze This was brought up in a recent episode I saw. Obviously there's a lot of Godfather references and talk about Goodfellas, shit like that. So it's really good. I love the crew, Big Pussy and Paulie. Chris, he's great. Michael Imperioli. I have a feeling Chris is going to end up in a bad place at some point. Just a really good show. It's really funny. I was really surprised at how sort of funny it is and consistently funny. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it. Already started season 2. I just met the sister, came back to New Jersey. You have the stuff going on with his uncle, Uncle Junior. All that stuff has been really good so far. Alan did a great review yesterday of The Sopranos in more detail. He's up to season 4 at least, by the sounds of it. So like him, I came very late to the party on The Sopranos. I only just started watching it about a week ago. Okay, so beyond that, 2001, Gandolfini starred in 3 very interesting films, in my opinion. One is The Mexican, directed by Gore Verbinski. I was not a huge fan of The Mexican, so I don't have the DVD to show you film starring Brad Pitt and Julia Roberts. But I thought James Gandolfini was the best thing about The Mexican, but it's been a long time since I've seen it. I haven't seen it since it came out, to be honest. But I remember him. He had a great role, a great sort of dynamic with Julia Roberts' character. Yeah, really good performance by him in that film. But one of the films I do like from that year, and that I have, is The Last Castle. A really good sort of military drama starring Robert Redford. Mark Ruffalo's in this. Yeah, Robert Redford is a famous sort of general who gets sent to a military prison for something he did wrong on the battlefield, something like that. James Gandolfini plays the warden of the prison. Excuse me, I got like a remnants of a cold from last week. Delroy Lindo is in this also. A really good sort of tense, excuse me, action drama. Gandolfini is really good. It's sort of a different role for him. I mean, he's still got that sort of big, intimidating presence, but he's sort of a weakling in this film. It's kind of an interesting role. I mean, he plays this warden of a prison, and you expect that kind of character to be very authoritative, but he kind of sort of cowers to Robert Redford. Really good film. It was the first film I saw at the theater that I ended up working at for 4.5 years. When it came out in 2001, I went to see it at that theater. I really like it. I've seen it a couple times since then. Gandolfini really good in this. Okay, another film from 2001, which I believe Ray is going to talk about tomorrow. Yeah, he does Sunday, I think. Yeah. One of my favorite Coen Brothers films, next to Fargo, it probably is my second favorite. And that's The Man Who Wasn't There. Great film noir, black and white. Billy Bob Thornton plays a very sort of soft-spoken barber in 1950s California, I believe, who gets caught up in blackmail and revenge with Frances McDormand, a Coen regular. And James Gandolfini is great in this film as well. I believe he plays her husband. It's been a while since I've seen this, but a great film, one of my favorites of 2001 and of the 2000s in general. If you like the Coens, and most people do, great directors. This is one of their best films, I think, and not many people talk about it. Okay, so wrapping up, because this is a long video. Last year, James Gandolfini appeared in 2 very good films, and one I don't have because I haven't had a chance to get it yet, and that's Killing Them Softly. I called it Killing Me Softly. When he died, for some reason, I always get those 2 mixed up. But really good, interesting sort of mob hitman movie. Again, starring Brad Pitt. Sorry about the coughing. Yeah, really sort of interesting role for Gandolfini again. Again, he plays a hitman who sort of comes to town to do a job. But then he gets drunk and he gets hooked up with a prostitute. But he has some great lines when he talks to Brad Pitt, talking about the prostitute and what they should and shouldn't do. And I thought it was a really good scene from that movie. Really sort of good movie, I thought. Brad Pitt, very good. Sort of very... It is a film about murder and killing and hits, but it's done in a way it's very talky, and there's not that much blood or violence. Some of it's sort of implied. It's a very interesting film. So Killing Them Softly, hopefully I'll get on Blu-ray in the future. Check it out if you haven't seen it. And last but not least, one of the best films of last year, in my opinion. It was in my top 5, and that's Zero Dark 30. Of course, the epic directed by Catherine Bigelow about the manhunt for Osama bin Laden. Jessica Chastain, wonderful. One of the best female performances of last year. Gandolfini again has a pretty small role, but a very good scene that he appears in. He plays sort of the lieutenant colonel or general that Jessica Chastain has to answer to when it comes to the whereabouts of bin Laden. And he asks her point blank, "Who are you?" And she has the best line, the best response of last year, I thought. "I'm the motherfucker who found the place." It's one of the best moments of last year, and Zero Dark 30, a great film and sort of a great send-off for James Gandolfini, along with Killing Them Softly. So that's my video for James Gandolfini week. Make sure you check out all the other guys' videos this week. It's going to be a good week. I should also mention that lately I've been watching a lot of Inside the Actors Studio episodes. They have a ton of them on YouTube, and I caught the James Gandolfini one a couple days after he passed away, actually on TV, on Bravo. It's one of my favorite shows over the past decade. I love watching all these actors come and talk with James Lipton about acting and their work and that kind of stuff. So if you want to see James Gandolfini on Inside the Actors Studio, I'll leave a link to the video in the description down below. Sorry about the coughing, can't be helped, but thank you for watching, obviously, and until next time, I'll see ya.
Bond. James Bond.